right, Raleigh, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the This is Raleigh podcast. How you doing, Kaz?
I'm great. I'm excited to talk about today's episode.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about
Fun one.
reasons, things to think about when deciding whether to live in Raleigh. And, you know, if you've been following us for quite a while, you know that we've been singing Raleigh's praises since 2004.
We sure have, and we love living here. We think it's a great lifestyle. However, it's not perfect. Nothing is ever perfect.
No.
And one thing that we've learned through years of living in different places is that it's really important to figure out what it is that you like and don't like and what are your deal breakers, so that when you do move to an area, understanding, you know, sometimes you might be limited by jobs and that kind of stuff, but you know, you do have the power to choose. And I think a lot of us forget that. We get so caught up in checking off all the boxes of our life and doing all of that and work and all of that, that we forget sometimes that we can choose. And you might get to a region and you might like it for a while, but then you might figure out it doesn't really suit you. You get frustrated and upset with things, and then you could start complaining. And all of that leads to is you being unhappy. Whereas you could just take a step back and say, can I maybe change something here? Should I have lowered my expectations in the first place, done more research, or, you know, make a change? I know when us, you know, I lived in London for 2 years and same sort of thing there. But when we lived in Dublin, it was like the best living experience ever. Nearly a year that we lived there. But it got to that almost a year point where it was like, we can't deal with this constant drizzle rain anymore and the cold weather. It's time for us to make a change. Like, we couldn't change that weather. We couldn't change what that was, but we could say, okay, this is not going to suit what's going to eventually make us happy and where we live, like, full time. So
Yeah.
let's make a change and move. So that's kind of what we've spoken a lot about, because a lot of people come to us about things they don't like living in Raleigh, or ask us questions about what's bad about living in Raleigh, and they're trying to figure out a few things. So we thought, well, let's just jump on, talk about different things you can do when you're feeling that way. But, you know, why wouldn't you want to live in Raleigh? Because there are reasons it doesn't suit everyone, and there are some things about it that could be considered challenging and make people unhappy.
Yeah. So today's topic is like I said, reasons you may not want to live in Raleigh and might not like living here. And as I said, if you've been following us for quite some time, you're probably sick to death of us talking about how great Raleigh is. But yeah, we found our feed here, and you know, it took us totally by surprise. If you're just new to our story, this is the first time you're listening to us, you go back to episode 1 and 2 of this podcast. We talk about our story, how we ended up in Raleigh, why we love living in Raleigh, and now while we've put permanent roots down and to raise our kids here and got green cards. We grew up in Australia, if you can't tell from our southern accents, 1 hour north of Sydney, both from the same small town. And we first moved to Raleigh 17 years ago in 2004. We also have a blog post, 34 Reasons We Love Living in Raleigh, on our site, which has been quite popular. So you can check that out as well. But just a brief, quick background, how we ended up in Raleigh, then we'll get into the reasons why you may not want to live in Raleigh. And it's going to be a bit tongue-in-cheek, because like you said, like, who wouldn't want to live in Raleigh? But there are, you know, like you said, no place is perfect for everybody. You know, depending on your situation, your age, your time of your life, whatever's going on. But yeah, we first came to Raleigh in 2004 because Caroline used to be an elementary school teacher, come across with a program based in Chapel Hill, and we ended up living in Raleigh, and she taught through that for 4 years. We fell in love with the place, and ever since then, been finding a way to get back here permanently. And we got green cards last year through our blogging business. So here we are. You're stuck with us, whether you like it or not.
We're not going anywhere. And as we mentioned in our last episode, we gave you an update on our life for the past few months. We're in the process of buying a house, so we are definitely staying for a while. But
it's very people moving to Raleigh is obviously very topical right now with the crazy real estate market going on, but Raleigh's popularity has been steadily growing ever since we come here in 2004. And like we've said in previous podcasts and blog posts, that we thought when we first got here, like, Raleigh's America's best kept secret. Like, why aren't we hearing more about Raleigh? But yeah, the secret's definitely well and truly out now, and over 60 people a day moving to the Wake County Triangle area. And yeah, real estate is just off the charts. Schools are overflowing and capped. Places just booming. Tech companies are moving in and growing. You know, the outer belt lines getting finished, and it's just, you know, the sprawl is happening.
Yeah.
Hopefully not too much. Like I'm understand growth happens and evolve or die, but hopefully it's good managed growth and they don't ruin the whole fabric of the city, and especially don't lose the trees and the lakes.
Yeah.
In case you don't know, Raleigh is known as the city of oaks for all the majestic oak trees and the beautiful wooded neighborhoods. But yeah, please don't ruin that.
Yeah, let's hope so. But, who knows? I mean, and growth is a good thing compared to when we moved over here in 2004. We loved it then. We loved the, small town kind of vibe. But, you're in a city. But there still wasn't a lot of options, really, on things to do and places to eat and all of that. So we love how that has just boomed over the past few years, and there's so many restaurants and breweries are everywhere, and there's good coffee here now and all of that. So, we love that aspect of growth, and it's a really great thing that's happening with the community in that way. But as long as, we know that with growth can have a real change in personality, and Raleigh is special for a particular reason, and we just hope that doesn't change, and definitely the trees.
Yeah. Now, people are moving here from everywhere. Like there's a lot of people from within the US, obviously, because of COVID. People can work from home, and you can change your location. You don't have to worry about commuting into office and stuff like that as much. So that's definitely put Raleigh on steroids if it wasn't already.
The great resignation period of our life is now called because of COVID. The great resignation, because so many people have realised they can make a change and they're resigning and leaving, and as you said, seeing they can work from home. And so making the choices that we've always made based upon how we want our life to look rather than being confined by a particular job, which is not an always easy thing to do. But I think people are realising that now, which is a beautiful thing, that people say, well, hang on, I can design a life that suits me best. And so part of that is like finding a place to live that really suits you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, like I said, people are coming here from like New York, California, Boston, New Jersey, Chicago, California, Texas, Florida, internationally, of course. I mean, like, look at us. We immigrated here from Australia. So who am I not to say don't move to Raleigh? But like I said, it's going to be a bit tongue-in-cheek, but just to make you things aware of, we like to keep things real and, give you, so you don't come here with false expectations and stuff like that. Because, we love it, but like I said, it's not perfect and it's not for everybody. So we just want to share a few things that might help you if you do move here, deal with it, and
or realise it's not
or
for
not,
you, and then go somewhere else, which is perfectly fine. And I think one of the biggest things that people reach out to us and ask about or comment on is the humidity, which I completely understand because humidity is tough, and we're kind of weird that we like humidity. We've spent a lot of our years living in humid environments, and so I actually feel better physically when I live in a humid area. It just suits my body better. But I know that people get very exhausted by it and can't cope with it because it is intense. And Raleigh, I mean, it's 95 degrees outside at the moment with high humidity. Yeah. And we're going to get a lot of rain in the next few days because of it. So it is intense. So we don't want to say to you, oh, don't worry about it, you'll be fine. Because it is very humid, and, we get the humidity for, at least a good 4 months, I think, of the year.
Yeah, summer's hot. Summer's hot and humid, in case you didn't realise. But we embrace it. We love it, like you said. Like Australia, we had heat. Well, not quite the humidity as you do get here in North Carolina in the south, but Australia gets very humid in the northern parts, and we've spent a lot of time in that area. And then now that we've been here for so long, we're used to it. But, yeah, I love the humid heat versus the dry heat. Because it's,
I hate the dry
it's not
heat.
Good for your hair and nails, is it?
It's not good for anything. And I don't know. I always just feel like when I'm in the dry heat and it's 90 degrees or whatever, I feel like I'm getting pierced by the sun and it's just taking everything out of me. I just feel terrible. I don't feel that when I'm in the humidity, but I understand that everyone is different. I know we lived in Broome, Western Australia for 6 months. That's one of the hottest places I've ever experienced. We couldn't get out of the pool. And Australians don't really have a lot of air conditioning. So we spent the entire day in the pool, just couldn't get out. It was so tiring.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, it just made me think, why should you listen to us about deciding whether to live in Raleigh, I just want to say that we have lived in 5 different countries as well as Raleigh. So we come from a unique perspective. Obviously, we lived in different places in Australia. We lived in Bangkok, Thailand for 6 months teaching English. Talk about hot. We lived in
April.
Yeah. Lived in Dublin, Ireland for a year. Caroline lived in London for 2 years. And then, of course, we've lived all this time here in Raleigh. So we, have a very perspective of places we've lived in. Plus, we've travelled to over 50 countries around the world. So we've seen a lot, and we know what makes a place livable. Obviously, there's a difference between visiting and living in a place. I think you need a good, 6 months to get into a place in the community and get under your skin. So keep that in mind as well. But, yeah, humidity, we walk a lot. Every afternoon I go for a walk, and I feel like I'm soaking wet and I've just jumped in a lake.
Which is
which I
cleansing,
love it.
but
Yeah.
a lot of people
Getting the toxins
don't
out.
like that. So,
So if you
it's
don't like
understandable.
humidity,
Might
I
not
understand it's
be.
draining and tiring, and so yeah.
But on the flip side of that, people in North Carolina, I think in America in general, love air conditioning. To me, they love it a little too
my
much.
God.
It's freezing. I don't like in the summer having to carry a sweater everywhere with me
Yeah, what's
because
up
when
with
I
that?
go inside, it's freezing cold.
Now we're dropping our kids to school, it's 95 degrees, and they're wearing a sweater all day because
Yeah.
it's so cold, and it's like they're sitting in an icebox in the classroom. I'm like, what's up with that?
Yeah, I don't understand it, but
And whether you go to a
there you
movie
go.
theater or a restaurant or anywhere, you got to take a layer, which is annoying.
Take a layer.
So if you don't like taking a layer, don't move to Raleigh.
If you don't like taking a layer in the summer,
Oh man, it's like
Move to
middle of summer
Raleigh.
we're flip flops, t-shirt, tank top, and shorts. What's
Inside and
what's this
outside.
coat nonsense? Because you
Yeah.
used to teach with a coat on in the middle of summer.
yeah, I did. I'd always go into the office and say, I think we need to do something. Can we please turn down the air conditioning? Because my children are sitting there in coats and it's like 90 degrees outside. And then I was just like, couldn't handle it anymore. So I opened the
man.
windows, and then I got in trouble for opening the windows. 'Cause
And that's how you
it
catch a
messed
cold.
everything up.
Constant changes in body temperature going from the hot outside into the air conditioning. Hot, cold, hot, cold. You get sick sometimes from that.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
So
Moving on.
yeah, might not be for you. Seriously, we love it. We can deal with the humidity, but I know it's pretty intense, and some people just don't like it. So then, might be worth looking
Yeah.
somewhere else over in the west where it's a little drier.
yeah. Now, reason number 2, which is very relevant to us, Raleigh, in case you didn't know, is not on the beach. Just a little
funny one,
just a
this
little
one.
heads up. But yeah, if you're moving here from California,
funny one.
Florida, Australia, like us, and you're used to like a 10-minute, 15-minute drive, or maybe even a bike ride to your local beach, you're not going to get that in Raleigh.
I
And
find this such a funny complaint from people because I get it. Like we say all the time, the only thing that Raleigh's missing for us is a beach. Like we miss the beach, and
because we grew up on the
lament
beach,
it. We
like
grew-
a 5-minute bike ride to the beach.
right, but
sometimes.
we're not complaining that Raleigh's terrible to live because there's not a beach here because
Yeah.
we knew that moving here. I mean, you could look on the map; it's clearly evident there is no beach in Raleigh. So I understand how you can miss it and say, "Oh, I miss the beach. I miss having that access to it." But I don't think it's a reason you can say it's not a great place to live because it
No.
doesn't have a beach. Because it's obvious.
But if you love the beach and it's something that you've grown up and say after work, just biking down to the beach, jumping in the ocean, or on the weekend, just an early morning swim or something like that, don't move to Raleigh because we don't have a beach on outside the Beltline. There's not even a wave pool or anything.
No,
that
and
I'm aware
it's
of.
not. We have a lot of lakes, but they're not swimming lakes. The closest
Yeah.
swimming lake is
Jordan?
Jordan Lake or Falls Lake. So that's not really
I don't know if
accessible
I
to
go in
most
Falls
people.
Lake with the water, but yeah, I think Jordan's a bit cleaner.
Yeah, but I mean, it is it's 20 minutes from Carey, so it is kind of it's not somewhere if you're working downtown and you're not living out that area, you're not going to jump in the lake for a swim
Yeah.
after work. Not like if you're living on the beach. So
Yeah, no. The beach is a day trip. It's not,
at least an hour and a half drive.
Yeah, well, actually,
depending where you are
a
in
bit longer.
Raleigh.
In case you're wondering, the closest beach from Raleigh is Wrightsville, and it's a straight shot down I-40, and it's near Wilmington, like 10 minutes from Wilmington. Like 2 great places. We love Wrightsville Beach. It reminds us of home, actually. It's like the beach vibe culture, surfy culture. It reminds us of Australia. We love going to Wrightsville, but it's a day trip. We've done it many times. Just don't make the mistake that we did and going on a Sunday sometimes because the parking there is horrendous.
Or get there very early.
Yeah, get there very early. I would say leave home no later than 7 o'clock. You want to get to Wrightsville by 9. Find parking, because we made the mistake getting there like about 10 o'clock, and I was literally driving around for 90 minutes trying to find a car park, and we almost left. They got to figure that out. It's crazy. But yeah, Wrightsville Beach is Carolina Beach, the other side of Wilmington. Topsail, Curray, and the Outer Banks is a good 3 to 4 hours drive. But I mean, yeah, it's a good day trip, day out in Wrightsville. Otherwise, it's a weekend getaway and stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, if you love beach that much that you need to have it within 10-minute, 20-minute drive from your house in California or Florida or wherever, yeah, you're not going to find that here in Raleigh.
No, and I get that. I understand. We totally understand the value of living so close to a beach. That's what we grew up living near.
Yeah.
And I know how much you miss it when you're not away from it. But there are lots of great places that are on the beach, like Savannah, Charleston. I mean, that'd be
Myrtle Beach, if you're into it. We're not big Myrtle Beach people, but North Myrtle Beach, much better than the hub.
Yeah, you could live in those cities, which I think, being in the South, same kind of climate, sort of southern personality, but you are right on the beach. So, there are different options if that's what's...
Yeah, West Coast Florida, like beautiful sunsets. I mean, it's lovely there this time. Well, not this time, not right now. It's hot
go there
for
the winter.
as hot as hot can be.
Yeah, if you don't like humidity, don't move to Florida.
But yeah, no, we do miss the beach, but we've learned to embrace lake life. So anywhere that has water, it's a different type of energy. It's actually more calming and safer. Like we don't have to worry about sharks or rip currents or big waves through our kids. We feel much calmer with our kids. We love going paddleboarding, kayaking, tubing on the lakes. Yeah, it's cool. But yeah. All right, moving on. Next point.
Moving on. Food. Not enough options. Well, we know, as I mentioned just before, that the food scene has changed a lot here.
When we first moved here in 2004, it was way less limited than it is now. The food scene has thrived.
And it's just getting better
over
and
the
better.
last decade.
Yeah. New ideas are coming in from different regions around the country. We've got like different chefs coming in, celebrated chefs, award-winning chefs, bringing their innovation into the city. So I really do think there's a great growth happening. But
absolutely,
there are some things like the Tex-Mex and the California
bagels and the pizza.
And
I'm
all
through what we do on thisisraleigh.com and stuff. I'm in a few Facebook groups about people moving to Raleigh, and one of the complaints they talk about is the food. And I get it. If you're coming from New York, like Queens or Long Island or Brooklyn, or if you're coming from
New Orleans, imagine
New Orleans,
from New Orleans.
Yeah. Parts of Texas or even California has a great food scene. If you're coming from a foodie town, you might be disappointed in some of the choices in Raleigh, and I see that come up a lot. And two of the things that I see all the time is people are just missing their New York style pizza and bagels. I get it. Like there's things from Australia that we miss, like Vegemite. Meat pies, like Lamingtons, a few other things off the top of my head, but yeah, I get it. You miss your comforts from home. I understand, but learn to embrace, like, try new things, and don't wish that it was like back home, because it's kind of like, what's the point? Whether you're going on vacation or moving to a place, if you want everything is like it is at home, why even move? Why even go there on a vacation? Just stay where you are. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I understand that you miss some of your comforts food-wise, but embrace what Raleigh has to offer. Like there's some, try some new southern dishes, or there's the new innovative food going on. Like there's other cool things to substitute it with.
There really is, and you could even start your own. We were chatting with a lady who the other week who moved here from Mexico, and she was telling us how much she misses tacos, and she said you just can't get
breakfast tacos. Breakfast tacos, especially.
Yeah, especially breakfast tacos, and she's like, you just can't get them here, and they're just not made the same way. So she's currently thinking and planning about opening up her own breakfast tacos place, like the real authentic that her family make and her community. She's from a small kind of region in Mexico. So I just think that's awesome. I think it's great. And
there's a niche there. There's a hole in the market. Yeah, and I was talking to one of our kids' school friends' dads the other day. They're from Austin. He was saying the same thing. He misses his breakfast tacos and breakfast burritos.
There's an opportunity there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So that comes up all the time, breakfast tacos. Like I said, the bagel thing. People like New York is like, they love their bagels. So if you can't survive and live without your New York bagel, maybe reconsider moving to Raleigh. But I'm going to give you a few options because I've been researching it. We didn't grow up with the bagel scene. I'm no expert on bagels, but from getting suggestions from our community, I've been scoping out and taste testing the best bagels in Raleigh. And a couple of I'm about to publish a blog post, but just briefly, the New York Bagel and Deli on Falls of North Road in North Raleigh, the NYBD Bagel Shop in Carey off Kildare Farm, and Benchwarmer Bagels at Transfer Cove Food Hall to satisfy some of your bagel fix. But I'll share more on the blog post soon.
There you go. And fun fact, bagels aren't really a thing in Australia.
No.
It's actually, they're starting to come out a little bit more now, but very hard to find. Very hard to find. You generally won't find them in there wouldn't be a bagel store. Maybe sometimes in your local supermarket you might find an expensive bag of bagels, like in the exotic section.
Bagels from Harris Teeter or Barugas or something like that.
It's weird, because I started eating them. I think I actually first started eating them when I lived in London, and I taught in a school that was in a Jewish area, and I started eating them there, and I thought they were wonderful. I was like, why can't I get these in Australia? When I tried to return home, I used to try and get them. One thing I used to love, every morning I would get a jam donut from the Jewish bakery. I can still taste it now. I was talking to the girls about this the other day because they got a jam donut from somewhere. I was like, there's nothing in the world that compares to that jam donut, and I'm going to try and find it.
When we go back to London, take me there. Sounds amazing. But yeah, I love bagels too, but I've just been cutting back on carbs lately. So I'm avoiding the carbs and stuff like that. And you're avoiding gluten as well, obviously, so it makes it tough. But
yeah.
The other thing I see come up all the time, people from New York or Connecticut or Long Island, is their New York style pizza. They're missing their New York style.
There is a New York style pizza in Carey now.
I know, I'm going to share that soon. But yeah, they're craving their New York style pizza, and they can't find good alternatives in here. So again, if you can't live without your authentic New York style pizza, maybe stay in New York or maybe stay in Connecticut or wherever you get it. But I mean,
I like Chicago style pizza.
Oh,
better.
A deep dish.
Am I going to be in trouble for saying that?
Talk about carbs.
No, I can't eat it now, but Chicago style pizza.
I like the thin crust. And talking of thin crust, we just went to V Pizza in Carey the other day, and it was awesome. And if you have gluten intolerance, they got the cauliflower pizza crust and gluten-free crust. So go check them out. But
great wings too.
But New York style, I just jotted a few down. Where are my notes here? But Oakwood Pizza Box in Oakwood. New York style pizza. I mean, the founder is from New York originally.
There you go. I love
so there's a great alternative. And Oakwood on North Burston Street. If you haven't been to North Burston Street, it's probably our favourite street in downtown Raleigh area. A lot going on there. So Oakwood Pizza Box, J&S. Where's my notes? I wrote it down somewhere. Can you quickly help me? But you talk about the other one maybe in Carey.
Yeah, so there's a new one in
Di Fiara
in Carey that's been open for maybe 2 months now, I think, and it's very popular. We haven't been there. They don't have gluten-free, so, that sort of, I don't go because it doesn't, I can't have it, unfortunately, but people rave about it.
I found it. J&S NY Pizza in Apex, Carey and Fuquay. That's a hot tip from our friend who grew up in Boston. Yeah, Di Fiara Pizza, Brooklyn-style pizza, and there's other great pizza shops. Like we like Lily's and 5 Points.
Yeah, that was a good pizza.
Yeah, and 5 Points is a great area too. So you can get good pizzas, whether it's New York or Boston style or Connecticut. Good. You be the judge. Yeah, I'm not too fussy.
No, and just if you have suggestions, if you are from New York or Boston or wherever, and you found places that you love that are similar to what you loved in New York and you're getting that fix, let us know and we'll share it. And we'll go and try it ourselves.
Another school friend, Dad, I was talking to, I met on the weekend, is from Queens. And one thing he was saying living in Raleigh he misses the most is tapas. There's not enough options for tapas. He misses his tapas. So I'm trying to think, where can we help him out with tapas?
Well, the Barcelona wine bar, we haven't we've had, we went there for a wine and I'm not even going to try it. I can't.
I'm bored with stuff on it.
I just can't
eat cheese and meats.
This is the Australian in me that's
yeah.
keep it simple. But they have tapas.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a cool place. I like
Yeah,
it.
and that other place in Carey, I'm going to get it wrong, the
Catalina.
not Catalina. That's a tapas place. I'll have to look it up and put it in the show notes, guys. Sorry. We're going to go there on Wednesday night.
It's Catalina.
That's not Catalina. I don't know. Starts with a C.
Okay.
Just quickly look it up, and I'll gibber on about something else. But yeah, tapas. We'll try and help you out with some tapas. We'll scout it out and maybe do a blog post on best tapas in Raleigh and help you guys out. But yeah, I mean, try, start, like I was saying, if you can't find Catalan in Carey. And they have live music apparently. And so it gets great reviews. We haven't been there yet, but it's on our list.
It's on our list.
So yeah, get your tapas fixed. But like I said, maybe try new things if you can't get your, like embrace being in Raleigh. Like get into the biscuit scene. Get into like shrimp and grits. Get into what else is there in the south? Your collards. Get into okra. Get into
hush
puppies.
And we have
barbecue. Get into your barbecue. Carolina barbecue. Like hello. Like if you like your meat.
If you like your pork. Vinegar style.
Yeah, vinegar style pulled pork, shredded pork. Get amongst it.
And we have a podcast on Southern foods to try. So listen to that, and there is show notes attached on the blog itself.
Yeah.
So you can find lots of those places we recommend that do good Southern Carolina style food.
Yeah, I mean that's what I like about whether it's traveling or moving to another city is trying different foods. It's one of the best ways to travel is through the food and the culture. So, like I said,
like my
I understand you miss your New York style bagels and pizzas, but embrace where you're living in. Get to love Raleigh for Raleigh, not because you want it to be New York or Austin or Seattle.
Yeah, and it's okay to miss that stuff because we do miss Vegemite, and no one in Raleigh has opened up a Vegemite store yet.
No, and it's $9 for a teeny tiny jar at World Market, and special occasions.
Yeah, maybe we might have to do that meat pie and sausage rolls. Another thing that people complain about, which we completely understand. It's okay to complain about this, I think. We do. And Craig's been talking a lot lately how he feels they're so much worse this year, but it's the bugs.
Oh, the bugs.
Humid, you're going to have bugs.
Yeah, it just seems to be
avoid it.
On steroids this year, the bug scene.
Yeah, the moths. Well, we've had a lot of rain, so could be.
I mean, we're house hunting, as if you probably know if you follow us on Instagram or listen to our previous podcast, and one of our things at the top of our list is a screened-in patio. Because we love to be outside as much as possible, sit on a deck, whether it's just chilling, having a drink, reading a book, doing some work or work outside. So screened-in patio is high on our list, or an area where I can build one and add a deck with a screened-in patio because the bugs are just driving me nuts.
Yeah, it's really funny. Like I remember when we first moved over here, and I was like, why does everyone have screened-in patios? Because it's not a thing at home. You just sit out on your back deck because we just like being outside. And then I learned pretty quickly after living here that you really need it, and it's all year round because summer it's so humid and the bugs, like more for the bugs if it's an outside screening patio. But in the spring, the pollen is insane. I couldn't believe how we could never go and sit outside during the spring because of the pollen. It was like we had never experienced that before.
Oh, yeah, the pollen apocalypse or whatever they call it. Yeah. When your car just gets covered in pollen, your clothes, your screens, your roof on your house, like the whole city just changes colour.
It's just green everywhere. I remember first time I saw it, I'm like, what is that all over my car? It was just like orangey. The green pollen. Oh, it comes out in all different colours, but I remember the green.
Yeah, it gets thick. So if you have a issue with your lungs or breathing or pollen, don't move to Raleigh.
And allergies, because
allergies, that's what I meant to say.
It's bad. It's bad during the spring when that happens. But I think there's a lot of places in America where that happens. Like you have 4 seasons, but it does seem particularly
just back onto the bugs. I mean, we have mosquito or mozzies bad in Australia. We grew up with mozzies. Yeah, annoying things. I don't know why they were created, but
Same with flies.
Oh, why do they exist? Flies and mozzies, mosquitoes.
I know they have a purpose.
We've had some of the worst mosquitoes ever in Australia. Like we hiked around Uluru, the big red rock in Australia. They were the flies. The flies and that were that bad. We had to wear head nets. It was crazy. I was trying to take a photo and I had my hand like this constantly, like a windscreen wiper. So we know flies and mosquitoes and bugs can be annoying.
And when you combine the annoyance of those bugs with the intense humid heat, it can lead to complete
meltdowns,
especially with kids.
Especially
it
with
really
kids.
does.
Yeah.
Like I understand how that can happen. And everything, irritation, it's magnified. The way people irritate you when you're hot, bothered and buggy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they're just like the most irritating people in the world.
All right. Yeah, just on continuing with the bugs and stuff, and air conditioning ties into this. I guess the other thing is funny and weird sometimes you hear is like, it's like, there's the screen things on your windows. Like there either is screens or there isn't any screens. Because we grew up with screens.
You have to.
Fly screens.
Yeah.
Front doors had a fly screen, the windows have a fly screen because of the mozzies and flies.
And to note, a lot of Australians don't have air conditioning. We rely on fans and open windows.
That's true.
The screens are really important for Australians.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the bugs are everywhere.
Yeah. So on our recent rental, they had no screens on the windows downstairs, and we were like, I want some screens because I like fresh air. I like to open the windows. We don't like living in air conditioning in a vacuum seal. So we get some screens put on the windows and stuff. But that's not a common thing here in Raleigh or in the south by the seams. Have screens on the window. People don't like the look of them. Apparently, like it takes away the look of the
aesthetic appeal
facade.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, okay, let's move on.
Well, we've been talking about the humidity, the bugs. We have to now touch on the rain.
Yeah.
Because it all ties into each other. But Raleigh is this beautiful forest that we keep talking about, so wonderful, and it's so green. It's that way because of the rain. So love it, hate it, but embrace it, because without it, we wouldn't have so much that makes living here so wonderful. The trees, the greenery.
It's lush. It's awesome. I mean, it's all perspective. It depends where you come from. For us, it doesn't bother me at all. But and it's not rain because we lived in Dublin, Ireland for a year where it's just this constant drizzle 12 months of the year, and you're like, will you just downpour and be done with it? So this is annoying drizzle, which you might get in other places within the US. Like apparently
Chinese water torture.
Seattle rains a lot. That Pacific North Coast area rains a lot, which would drive me crazy.
Yeah.
I couldn't live there.
It doesn't rain as much as there, and in the summer it's just like it's a
downpour. It's tropical, like you might get in
most of the time.
Florida or something.
Yeah,
might hang around a bit longer than some storms, but yeah, it's not a big deal.
But it cools it down, And I know living in Australia on a really hot summer's day, everyone was dying for the southerly to blow in, which was the storm, because it just cooled everything down. And so that's what I love. Like I know we've had some pretty humid days this week, and so I know the rain's coming. It's like, it's going to cool it down. It's going to be so nice.
Yeah. So if you don't like rain, maybe consider Raleigh.
Not consider
Raleigh. Sorry.
No, you want to go out west.
Oh yeah, where it's dry. Yeah.
You want to go out west.
If you want to avoid the humidity and the rain, don't live in Raleigh.
No.
I heard it's lovely in Phoenix this time of year.
Yeah, I think so. Phoenix, Denver.
For dry heat and
Boise.
Dryness.
Actually, I think we're going to do an episode, other
alternatives
places
to Raleigh.
To live, because we have visited a lot
coming
of
to Raleigh.
We have visited a lot of places, and there are a lot of places around, not just the country but the world, that we've like, this would be a cool place to live. It's not, Raleigh is our place to live, but other places we can see that are really cool to live. So we're going to do a podcast about alternatives to Raleigh, because we don't want you living here if you don't like it.
No.
We're trying to slow the growth down a little bit.
Yes, the schools are full, guys. Stop coming here. Joking.
No,
but,
come.
Not joking about them being full, but joking about don't come here. Okay. Crazy weather, like hurricanes and tornadoes, something we're not used to growing up where we did in Australia, which is kind of freaky initially. And people, if you don't like hurricanes and tornadoes.
Yeah. Well, we get cyclones, but.
Cyclones in Australia, but not
depending
often.
where you're at, but yeah.
But no, hurricane season here obviously is every year. But we've never experienced anything bad in Raleigh. And they tend to hug the coastline and go up the coast.
We
obviously start in Florida.
Get a lot of rain.
Get a lot of heavy rain and some wind. I know they have had some.
They have
a few come through here over the years when we weren't there. I can't remember the names. Floyd, maybe one of them rings a bell. I don't know when. But yeah, hurricanes haven't really bothered us here at all. Just a lot of rain on the tail end or what have you, because they obviously lose strength once they come inland from the water. Tornado, and then you always get the thing about hurricanes. You get several days warning, so they don't worry me. Like you can plan and leave or do whatever. But the things that freak me out the most are tornadoes, because they can just pop up like that. and we didn't grow up with tornadoes. And I mean, we haven't had any issues. We've had a few minor warnings here over the years, and one, when was that? Like 6 months ago?
Yeah, we were ready with our things to get them.
Well, one when we'll separate, we're downtown, separated from the kids, and we're trying to hurry home. We're freaking out because a tornado warning came. But yeah, honestly, they're very, very rare, and I've never heard of anything bad.
No.
So.
And it doesn't, you know, wherever you choose to live, there's going to be some kind of natural disaster thing that you have to look out for. Like in Australia, for us, it's bushfires that we all have to worry about and look out for. So I don't think there's any place in the world where you can avoid it. You've got earthquakes and everything.
Yeah.
So out of all of them, I'd take the hurricane out of all of them because you do get that advanced warning and you can, you know, depart to make yourself safe.
Yeah. Another scary thing. I'm not trying to scare you at all, but maybe we are. Copperheads snakes.
I'm not scared of copperheads.
No, well, we grew up in Australia, so snakes, we have, 8 out of the 10 most deadliest snakes in Australia. So,
and you never see them?
No. Well, we have, but not to mean they're not there, but it's not like snakes and spiders. We have the deadliest in the world, and they've never bothered us.
No.
But yeah, copperheads are the most common venomous snake in North Carolina. And like summertime, the heat, they come out and stuff like that. They like the cool shaded areas. I don't think I've ever seen one ever since living here. Just
I saw one a few
goes to
months
show.
ago,
I mean, not saying that they're not there. I guess depend on where you are in the city and stuff like that, and whether you not live cleanly with leaving food scraps around or whatever attracts snakes. Whether you got pets or I don't know, but yeah, copperheads. If you don't like snakes, don't like copperheads.
But
keep that in mind.
No matter, like if you're out west, you got rattlesnakes. You got more out there.
I know.
So yeah, but anyway,
like we say, Americans. It's so funny. All the Americans say to us, they're scared about going to Australia because of all the things that can kill you, like crocodiles and great white sharks and snakes and spiders. And we're like, you guys have grizzly bears and mountain lions and like rattlesnakes and coyotes and stuff, black bears, and that freaks us out. Crocodiles and great whites, you just stay out of the water, easy.
Crocodiles scare me though.
Bears, they climb tree and run faster than you.
Yeah.
But yeah, copperheads. They don't like snakes. Keep that in mind. Now, Raleigh, we love it because it's not too big, not too small, and it's very livable. But it's not a big tourist destination. It doesn't have the big ticket tourist attractions like, say, LA or Orlando or other cities around the US, like theme parks and stuff like that. It's a mid-sized city. I mean, it's growing like crazy. But if you love, your big tourist attractions all the time, like New York and stuff like that,
or just big,
it might be a bit too quiet for you. If you're someone who needs constantly to be doing things,
Yeah. I mean, if you're coming from New York, LA, it's going to seem tiny and it's going to seem slow, which we love about it. We still find the pace of downtown is slow and quiet.
Yeah.
You might not like it. You might get really irritated by it because it definitely is not a New York or LA for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's, like I said, that's what we love. Like we love to visit touristing places, but we love to come home to Raleigh. Yeah. And there's still plenty to do, like more than enough for us to do. Like there's always something on every weekend or somewhere in one of the small towns or downtowns, like in normal times, like festivals and events and, like there's all the great free museums, there's the Greenway Trails, there's all the breweries, the food, the coffee shop. There's, there's plenty for us. But if you like big city stuff like Atlanta, New York, Houston, LA, you mightn't like it here.
And and this is what we've learned through our years of traveling. I like, if you get here and you realize it's not big enough for you, as we've been saying a couple of times, it's okay to move. And I think one thing that we've learned through living in other places is that, you might live there and it's short-lived because you realize it's not where you want to live forever. But that's a way for you to get to understand what you do and don't like. Like, as you mentioned, we lived in Bangkok and London. And I realized after living there, while I had a great time, wonderful experience, I realized I didn't want to live in a city that was that big and crazy.
Yeah.
Like I wanted a city but had like a smaller town, slower paced vibe. So all of our experiences are never lost, even if you end up going somewhere and realizing you don't like it. Yeah. Well, that's a win because now you figure out more about who you are and what you like and don't like. So now you know, okay, well, now I need to live in a place that has a little bit more action. So then you can go and make that decision.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we love Raleigh. Like, it has that small town feel and vibe, but most of the big city options.
Yeah.
Like, it's got that nice balance. It's not too big, not too small. So, yeah.
I can walk down the street. I'm in a city, but I can walk down the street. It's quiet, and I can run into someone I know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd get that.
Can't do that in
New
probably
York.
Sydney, London, New York, Atlanta, wherever. But, yeah. Other people thing I've found funny is I have never noticed it moving here, but people complain that things move too slow, like in customer service and stuff, and it takes forever to get something done.
No, but we have noticed that because, and we've always put this down to our accent. Because we always say if we go out and do something, we have to leave an extra 20 minutes of talking time.
People just
people want to talk to us.
Where y'all from? Y'all sound real pretty.
Which I love. I actually love that. It's one of the reasons we love living here because it helps us talk to people and get to know them.
Icebreaker.
But it's probably, we think it's just because of our accent, which in some regards it is. But listening to that then, it probably, things are slow. I think people kind of naturally just live a slower kind of life, but want to give more time to people.
Yeah, maybe it's
nice.
the southern thing. It's slower.
I think so.
It's Raleigh thing or the southern thing. But I mean, I know like there's Fiji time. When you go to Fiji, everything is really and like Africa don't even worry about a clock. It's Fiji time.
It'll happen when it happens.
So I guess there's Raleigh time and the South time. So.
Yeah, and I guess we embrace that more because we've travelled so much in those regions where it's just like it'll happen when it happens. So you kind of get used to just going with the flow and say, okay, well, this is just the way it is here.
Yeah. So guys, if you like, you know, intensity, things happening quick, click the fingers, it's done.
No.
Move on. Yeah. Probably not going to find it here.
No, that's for sure.
Competitive real estate market, obviously. Raleigh, everyone's moving to Raleigh. Feels like I'm like, where is everybody coming from? They just keep coming. Like, it's endless. But we've spoken about that in depth before. But it seems to be happening all over the country or all over the world.
Resignation.
Yeah, like we've got family in Australia, obviously. Like prices are out of control there. We've got friends in the UK. Prices are out of control in London and the UK. Everywhere. Most cities in the US. So it's kind of hard to avoid.
But, not right now.
So that's kind of evens itself out, that one.
But still, I mean the prices, what you pay here for what you get. If you compare that to Australia, like our friends in Australia are looking at the properties we're looking at the moment as we house hunt, and they're like, oh my God, I cannot believe what you can get for your money over there here in Raleigh. So even though it's a crazy market at the moment, it's still, compared to some other places, good value.
Totally.
Yeah.
Now, talking about the green and the forest and the trees, like this is going to sound really funny, but I saw someone complain in a Facebook group who'd moved to the area recently, and they were complaining that there were too many trees. I'm like, what? Literally, I was like, what? What's going on here? He's like, yeah, when I'm driving down the interstate or the roads or stuff, like, there's too many trees. I can't see a building and can't get my bearings. I don't know where I am.
Use GPS.
I'm like, you for real? Like, seriously.
Google Maps.
I don't know about you, but I'd much rather look at trees than a concrete jungle and a strip mall.
Oh my God, I just couldn't live. I couldn't.
That is, and I said to him, like, that is one of the, if not the best thing about Raleigh, that it's the trees and the greenery and the forest, man. And it's just like, if we all had more nature and trees and oxygen, and then our lives, the world would be a calmer, more healthier place.
Well, I really believe that's a reason why I feel people who live in Raleigh are really genuinely happy, calm people. I mean, it's not. That's not all of it. I'm throwing out like a generalization here, but based upon our experiences living here for so long and living in other countries as well, and other places, and who we come across and meet, I know that kind of calm, happy energy is there, and I really do think a lot of it has to do with the close connection we have to nature living in this city. I think it makes a massive impact. And we all know, I mean, let's face it, we all feel better when we're out in nature. And so many people learnt that over COVID. We've always known it because we've always been amongst it, travelling and outdoor adventures. But so many people, to save their own sanity, to get out of their house, started getting out in nature more. And suddenly they realised, oh, wow, I feel good in nature. This is this is actually a wonderful thing, and they're seeking it out more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because it makes you feel good. And I know I've noticed this with my girls since forever. We've been traveling with them, that every single time we say we're going on a hike with them, they complain like endlessly. And then I know this is going to happen. We get on the trail, and within 20 minutes, I call it the nature effect. Within 20 minutes, they're giggling, they're laughing, they're chasing one another, they're picking up sticks, they're interacting, they're having fun, and by the end of it, they'll go, that wasn't so bad. Like, it's the nature effect.
Yeah. Yeah, in times of stress, I say to even myself or say to anyone, go to nature. Go to nature. Get out in nature. Get barefoot on the grass.
A tree.
Be near a tree. Go and stand ankle deep in a lake, whatever. Sit near a lake. Nature is calming. That's one of the best things about Raleigh. Like, honestly, I was like laughing. Like, perspective. Each to your own. If there's too many trees, but guys, if you don't like trees and greenery, don't move to Raleigh.
Don't move to Raleigh.
But I'm like, honestly, one of the best things, like when you fly into RDU, it's like you're literally flying into a forest. I love that.
So beautiful.
And we, as an alternative, we flew into Phoenix recently. And wow, what a contrast.
That was the first thing we said. There's no trees.
How brown, flat, and dusty it was. Like, no offense to Phoenix. But yeah, what a contrast from flying into a forest of Raleigh or flying over Phoenix. It was just like extreme.
Yeah.
But yeah. Find your bearings other ways without your concrete building or strip mall. No pro sports teams or lack of pro sports teams. People like, if you come from a big sports city like, Boston or New York or Denver, and you got, pro football, baseball, hockey, basketball. We've got the Canes, the Hurricanes, Stanley Cup champions 2006. Go Canes. Get on the Caniacs. We were actually living here at the time. It was pretty crazy.
Yep.
Hockey has arrived in Carolina. Yeah, obviously Raleigh's a college town with NC State, the Wolfpack. So you get all the collegiate sports with there. And this is ACC territory with UNC, obviously Duke, the big colleges in the area. ACC basketball, actually. So this is, if you love your football, you mightn't like Raleigh so much because it is pro basketball. Football is getting bigger and it's still, has a loyal fan base. But yeah, pro sports teams, got the Canes. Otherwise, college stuff. And the Durham Bulls. If you do love your baseball, one of the cool things in the Triangle is a Bulls game out in Durham.
And we just wrote a post on it, how you can have a great night out. We go every summer. I love it. I don't really like baseball, but I think that is such a fun night out there. And it's
minor league baseball
great perspective
rocks.
of Durham, and it's just a cool southern vibe to baseball, I guess. But I love it. I can't speak to pro sports. I don't really care about that, but I know that you do. But just from someone who doesn't really care about it, I just find the college stuff loads of fun. And the college basketball, this is one of the best areas in the country for it, right? So there is that. If you love pro sports, you love sports in general, right? You can kind of embrace the whole college stuff here. Yeah,
no, I love my college sports, especially college football. Like Saturday afternoon in the fall is one of my favorite times of the year. I'm looking forward to that coming up soon. But I love sports, all sports. So embrace the new stuff. Obviously, North Carolina's a big soccer state, especially women's. So you got the NC Courage team that plays here, and also the North Carolina men's football team that play out at Wake Med Park in Cary, which is cool. We've been in games there. So soccer's a big deal. There's
golf, I guess.
Golf
is
actually,
good.
Obviously, North Carolina, like golfing state. We if you live, what is it, 1 hour to Pinehurst?
I think it's about that. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Maybe a little over an hour. It's one of the best golfing areas in the country, the world. So yeah, but if you love all 4 pro sports team and then you're just into the pro sports, you might be disappointed in Raleigh. Yeah. But we got some cool bars, cool sports bars, and each there's a big Pittsburgh Steelers scene here. They got their Barley's Sammy's Bar and Grill. I know the New England Patriots go to the Brickhouse Sports Pub, as do Ohio State Buckeye fans.
There you go.
So each, I think you can still find your tribe of team supporters and hang out at a particular bar. Pretty easy to find, but yeah.
And I just thought of something then when you said you were looking forward to the football in the fall. One great thing we're talking about, going back to climate and all of that, one thing I love about Raleigh is that September, October, we still have really warm weather. So that's what the fall is so great, because we get those really fun fall experiences with festivals, Halloween, football, all of that. But we still get to experience, we still have the warm weather, where in other parts of the countries, their summer's gone like months ago. Like they're done. Ours just goes for longer, so that's good.
Yeah. If you love your football, obviously the Panthers are the nearest team in Charlotte. It's about a 2.5 hour drive, or you'd have to drive up to DC about 5 hours to see Washington football team.
You got options.
Atlanta Falcons, 6 hours. But if you used to living in a big city with all four pro sports teams, that ain't here in Raleigh.
No. All right. Well, I mean, I think.
Another thing I had to laugh about, really, and I didn't realize it. No street lights. Lack of street lights, and people driving around in the dark. Have you noticed that?
You know, now you say it, I do, which is funny because we have streetlights everywhere in Australia. But it's not something that's bothered me, but because I just have the lights on in my car. So
it's not. There is a lot of dark places. You're like, this place needs some street lights.
Yeah.
And now that people have mentioned it, I'm like, that's right.
I don't like. Why does it bother someone though? That's what I'm curious about.
It's harder to drive. Maybe the eyesight.
Is it harder to drive, or they're scared
don't
walking
feel
around?
safe.
Yeah, I can see from that.
Probably
aspect.
the safety aspect. I would say, like, it's a bit darker in a lot of neighborhoods and stuff, and no street lights.
I can see that. Like the driving, I can't understand it because you've got your car lights on. But I can well, maybe it depends how dark it is, but I can get the safety thing. Walking around. If you're used to walking around at night, which is a nice thing to do, then that can be unnerving.
Yeah. So if you like having street lights, like literally every corner and bright daylight, don't move to Raleigh.
No, don't move to Raleigh.
And the traffic thing makes me laugh too. Like, people complain about the traffic. Again, it's perspective and where you've come. If you come from a small town or, I don't know, a smaller city, people complain about the traffic in Raleigh. I'm like, no.
I think it's not like other cities in that it doesn't have bad traffic all day long. It's just mostly in the peak hour. But in saying that, even since I came over teaching here, I was always going against the traffic in the peak hour times, so never noticed it. And now we have our own business, so we're never really out in peak hour traffic. So we just kind of go, it's not bad in Raleigh, but because we're never really ever sitting in it, so it could be really bad. Yeah. Especially in that peak hour
we're able to time it. We're able to time it, which is helpful. But, honestly, like, it's, again, perspective. Like, if you've sitting in traffic in LA or DC or Atlanta or Houston, you'll come to Raleigh and be like, this is nothing. This is so easy. And, but yeah.
Although we were driving in North Raleigh the other week, and we said
every time we're there,
it does seem to have bad traffic.
And obviously 60 people a day moving into the city, and Raleigh's been growing for many years. That takes me on to the next point. If you grew up in New York, riding the subway, or grew up in Chicago or any other major city that has a subway or train system, a public train system, you're going to get frustrated by Raleigh. There's no good, decent public transport. It's probably one of the negatives that I feel about the city.
I think
the fact that you have to pretty much drive everywhere.
Yeah.
There is a bus system, but it's pretty limited, and like there's no light rail or underground train system. But yeah, that's one thing that frustrates me. Like, I like to not have to drive everywhere. Like, jump on a train and go out somewhere, and you can have a drink. You don't have to worry about driving home, or plus it's fun too.
Yeah,
just easy and practical. Like, living in London, like riding the tube. It's awesome. You get to anywhere quickly. You don't have to worry about parking and taking your car and blah, blah, blah.
Living in Dublin, we just walked everywhere.
We walked everywhere.
Didn't need a car.
So, pretty much you need your car to get everywhere in Raleigh. I mean, again, like we said, the traffic's not too bad, and you can get anywhere in like 20 minutes.
That's
pretty much.
Yep. Everywhere's 20 minutes away in Raleigh.
Everywhere's 20 minutes away. But like I said, like, if you grew up and you love relying on, you don't have a car, you love relying on public transport like the tube or the subway in New York or Chicago or whatever, it's going to frustrate you in Raleigh. It
will. Although it is a good biking city. There are bike lanes everywhere, and people love biking around, and that's what we love, being able to bike to places, which we can where we live in Kerry. So that's a nice thing.
Yeah, and once you're in downtown, it's very walkable too. Like, that's why I love just walking around in downtown. So if you get your car in, find a spot, you can just leave it for the day.
Yep.
And it's like, what, 12-block radius or something.
Yeah, it's
Nothing
very
too
walkable.
huge.
Yeah.
So
It's
that's
a
cool.
small city, so yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Another thing people mention about is like only one airport, and I can't fly everywhere easily. Okay, so again, if you're from New York City and you're used to 3 airports, or Chicago 2 airports, DC 2 airports, LA's got 1 airport, which is crazy, but
It is actually.
well, they got Long Beach and a few other places, but we
Orange
actually
County.
love RDU, Raleigh Durham
Love
Airport.
RDU.
That's our favorite airport. We're a bit biased, but
We love it. Like we haven't. I know I've heard lots of stories about how crazy airports are now that COVID is whatever. I don't even know what it's doing, but people are starting to travel more. That they're all nuts and insane. But we've always in RDU
got
got
pretty
through security in like 15 to 30 minutes. Oh my gosh!
There's
I
been a few
love it.
times, like back in the day, obviously around the peak Thanksgiving period or summer vacations and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, but compared to like LAX or New
Even
York
Sydney,
or Atlanta,
London.
goodness, yeah. So, but
Great airport. And
yeah.
now they've got, I love how they're bringing local businesses
Cafes
into
and
RDU.
restaurants.
I love that. It's so awesome. La Farm Bakery's out there now, right? Is
Yeah.
it Bond Brothers that's there too?
I think so.
And there's another one that came out, I can't remember, that opened up in RDU. So I love that. I love that. You
Yeah.
arrive into RDU and there's some of Raleigh's local great restaurants, or Durham,
Yeah.
right there for people to experience.
Yeah, no, it's improved a lot too. Like since we first moved in 04, I actually worked at RDU in 2008, 2009. I worked for Delta, so I know it pretty well. But the flight options have increased a ton.
They have, yeah.
Like you got all the major airlines there, like United, American, Southwest has got its own terminal. Delta, obviously. So yeah, you can get to a lot of places pretty easily. I mean, one thing we're excited about is flying direct to Paris and London. Like being from Australia, Europe
Oh my God,
is a
it's
long haul,
heaven.
like all day, 24 hours. But if we can fly 8 hours direct to London and
That is
Paris,
so good.
it's so exciting to us. I can't wait to do that.
Yep. And you can fly direct to San Francisco
San
now.
Francisco.
I'm doing that next month. Yep.
Yeah, you can fly direct to a lot of places domestically.
Yeah,
so
it's
RDU's
improving.
improved a lot.
Yeah.
And you know, and Atlanta, you just change there if you have to, or drive
Charlotte.
up to DC, which isn't something a lot of other people do to fly internationally. 5 hours away,
There's
or
options.
Charlotte,
Yep.
2.5 hours away. But yeah, but like I said, if you want your 3 airports and fly everywhere and anywhere on a whim, no, not here. I think that's it.
That's it.
I mean, there's probably other things that frustrate us on occasion, but nothing, that makes us want to leave.
I think they're the main reasons, or the main things we hear people complaining about. But the most questions that people ask us the most is, I'm thinking of moving to Raleigh, but I'm not sure I'm going to like it because of this.
Yeah.
And so, people are always asking us those questions. So we thought, why not jump on the podcast and address those questions, and share, this may not be for you because of these reasons, but here are some sort of positive things that you can take about them instead.
Totally.
And then we'll come out with our alternative option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we said at the start, there's no perfect place for everybody. It has its flaws. But like I said, like embrace Raleigh for what it is. Like don't go on vacation or don't move to a place expecting it to be like it is at home. Otherwise, the world be boring. Yeah, I love Raleigh because it's Raleigh. Like I said, not because it's a future Austin or Seattle or New York. I like to visit those places, but I like to live in Raleigh because it's Raleigh.
Yep. And, we're not expecting it to be like Australia. And
No.
We're living here because we love, as you said, for what it is. And I think one thing we've got to remember, what's so great about Raleigh as well, is that y'all welcome.
Y'all are welcome.
That's what makes it such a great place as well. So no matter where you're coming from or your lifestyle or, how you want to live, and you're all welcome.
Yeah.
And we've really felt that. We've really been embraced by the Raleigh community ourselves ever since we moved over here. And that's one thing that we do love about it, is that we have always felt welcome, like we are part of the community and this is our home. And I think you really get that here.
Yeah, there's good people here. Absolutely. It's like we always say, it's very livable. Love that it's not a big touristy place. It's just very livable. Great place to raise a family. And it's a great central East Coast hub that we can drive to many places easily, fly to many places. Yeah. close to the mountains of the Smokies, close to the beach, great lakes and forests, and cost of living is still affordable compared to many places. Ish. With great schools, great universities, great schools. It ticks a lot of boxes. It doesn't tick every box, but, it ticks a lot.
So let us know on social media, has this been helpful, or what have you been most concerned about moving here, or have you arrived and decided you don't like it? Nothing wrong with any of the answers.
No.
It's all an opinion and they're all valid, and we would love to help you in any way that we can, and we hope this has. So reach out to us, let us know any other topics you want to talk about or any alternatives that you think to Raleigh are great to live in. And we'll share more on future podcasts. So you can connect with us over on social media at This Is Raleigh on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. And Facebook, which we're growing slowly. But
but I think it's at This Is Raleigh NC on Facebook. It is.
Yeah. But thanks for joining us. It was a bit of a big one. It was a big topic. But we look forward to talking with you soon.
Yep. Subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already. Leave a review and share us with your friends. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.